Hero February continues on the Bionicle Inspiration series, the show where we spotlight mocks from across the Bionicle community. Now, you guys sent me so many Hero Factory related submissions for HFFeb, and it's awesome, thank you so much for all of them, but I figured it was worth doing a couple extra episodes of the Bionicle Inspiration series to accommodate the wealth of submissions that you guys submitted. And also if you're like, oh, can I submit something? Should I submit something? Am I allowed to submit something? Is mine even good enough to be submitted? Of course it is, everything is welcome, so send it to this email that you're currently seeing on your screen and you're good to go. I'll do my best to feature it. So, let's begin. We start off with an unnamed mock. This is simply titled Hero Factory Villain Mock, and this is built by JNP Mocks. This is quite an imposing character here. I quite like both of these different claw hand designs. You know, one's got a flamethrower, and the other one is just these large spiky fingers. But, you know, this specific finger design, it's made out of the weapon pieces that appear on Breeze 2.0. And using these makes for a great design because, you know, obviously they have chainsaws on the back of them. Nothing says villain like, you know, hands that are just these large sharp talons and then buzzsaws on the wrist. It's a cool idea. This shoulder design is also quite fun, so it's localizing all of these dark red highlights up here, and that sort of specific contrast in just a small area, it looks quite nice, doesn't it? And I also love this gradient that's being created here as the dark red transitions into trans yellow up top. And this gradient is created very simply, it's literally just putting those electric flame type pieces right up against that dark red mask. That's it, but it's quite a nice transition between those two pieces, so yeah, beautiful results. And finally, this torso design, I think that's quite cool. You've got these chains really like sealing this torso up. Now, you can see that there's different like wires and tubing in the center of the torso, and to me it gives the impression that without these chains, the chest would open up and reveal something horrific, like it's sealing away a monster or something. Or maybe they're just super damaged and these chains are actually like what's keeping this torso together. If you took them off, you'd just fall apart and die. Either way, it's a cool idea and it's quite fitting for a villain like this. Now for a mock that's built by my old friend Mason, he goes by Building Better Blank these days, and this is Mason Striker. So Mason mentioned that this is his Hero Factory self-mock, and of course he named it after himself. And I love the idea of a Hero Factory and a Bionicle self-mock, because self-mocks are great fun. It's a form of self-expression, it's a character that represents you in Bionicle or Hero Factory form, and people love making them, they're just really good fun to have. So any excuse to make another one, it's totally worth it, right? So this cool wrist weapon here, I think that looks great, especially this shot here where we can see there's that scope attachment and them sort of aiming it there. That looks really cool, doesn't it? It's a great little weapon and it's a great use of that specific scope piece as well. I also like these antennae coming out of the back there. It's a very fine addition to this fantastic looking hero. This other character here, who I don't know the name of, it wasn't mentioned in the email, but they look super cool. I love this lime stripe on the leg design here, using what appears to be some stickers on the CCBS armor shell in white, and then transitioning that down into a more system brick-built leg design, which has that lime sort of separation on it. That just looks really snazzy and really cool, doesn't it? And then there's more great system details up here on the torso, adding in some lime curve slopes on the edges there of that torso piece. It's a great way to just sort of slightly extend that torso, armor it up a little bit more, and kind of fill in some of the gaps. And system's really helpful for that sort of stuff, isn't it? So yeah, really, really good stuff here. Epically Evil is up next, and they've reimagined Bulk. This is specifically a revamp of Breakout Bulk. It's a much more simple take on the character without as much of the glitz and the glam and all that weaponry that Bulk had. Well, I say that, but to be fair, this mock does have a lot of huge weaponry. They've got this massive blaster. And you know what? Sometimes weapons, they can make the character, right? You know, seeing Bulk haul around this gigantic blaster, he certainly fits the part. It's very appropriate for him to have a big gun like this. Now, I like that lots of tires have been used here. I think they fit the design quite well. It could be like ammunition that's located at the bottom of the weapon, or it could be some sort of additional like power supply. Whatever it is, it does look very nice. So yeah, next time you're building a hero, maybe you could give them a big old blaster like this, because like we can see here, it does look pretty cool. Now up next we've got a really cool concept by Bob the Doctor 27. So this is Jenny Sharp, but there's a nice progression with this character throughout their like long service at Hero Factory, so stick with me, you'll see what I mean in a hot second here. So we start off with the very first version of 1.0 Jenny Sharp. Now Bob the Doctor's using a painted white version of Nex's awesome mask here, and it looks very nice in white, and you know, couple that with all the other lovely additions that have been put on here, including a few other like tire pieces and system pieces, just to flesh out the design a little bit, and you've got a really solid 1.0 hero. But then Jenny progresses into a 2.0 form, adapting some lovely CCBS armor and some new weaponry, and man, the inclusion of this like printed tile on the weapon, I think that's such a small but appropriate detail, and yeah, already it's cool to see the progression from her 1.0 form into her 2.0 form here. I love that. But it continues. They move into their breakout form now, updating their armor a little bit more, giving them stuff that's a little bit more suited for the current breakout mission. It's great, isn't it? I do really like a lot of this new weaponry, and how great is it to see a character evolve like this? It's not something you see every day, but it's such a cool idea, isn't it? So yeah, maybe next time you build a hero, or heck, you could even do it with a villain as well, find different ways that you can have them progress as they're on different missions. You know, you're going to need different armor or different weapons for different missions, so maybe you could build the same character like 7 different ways across the different missions that they've done, or across different forms in like 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, different types of forms, or how they looked when all the villains broke out and they had to, you know, deal with them in that sense. So yeah, a lot of different ways you could play with Hero Factory heroes, and this is a testament to that. And such a sick idea. Bob the Doctor really nailed it here. Executed so well. Now up next we go to a revamp of Toxic Reaper, and this was built by Bionicle. Let's start off with a quick look at the original set. Here he is. I always love Toxic Reaper, a very expressive character with some cool green flame pieces and stuff like that. Now, we transition over to this wonderful revamp, and it does look very good. The first thing that grabbed me about this mock, though, was the brilliant back design. The way they've created this, like, shell using these curved lime armor pieces. They transition into this head design really well, because when you look at Toxic Reaper's mask, it shares a pretty similar shape to those same lime armor pieces. They both have that nice curved look to them. So yeah, it's such a beautiful way to transition there because of how similar those pieces are. It's just great. These updated arm cannons are also very fun. They're quite similar to the original set, but just buffed out a little bit to accommodate this now larger version of Toxic Reaper. But it's also nice to see the fact that they have hands now, so their hands aren't just purely a weapon, they can grab stuff. That's always good. But yeah, dude, this is a really solid revamp. Great work. So from one cool mock to another, we have a mock titled Wearable Power Assist Suit for Hero, and it's built by Johnny Dye. So, you know, in the early days of Bionicle, we of course had the wonderful Exo-Toa set, which gave us a mech suit that a Toa could ride inside, and it's awesome to see the same concept here, but for a Hero Factory character. Now, I love how Furno sits in this mech, the fact that the feet are on this little platform that's just above the feet on the actual mech suit, and then his hands are just, you know, holding onto these larger hands of the mech. It's great. Also, the chest armor here looks quite lovely over the top of Furno. When we look a little closer, we can see these trans elements here. Now, these specific pieces came in some Exo-Force sets. They're actually light bricks. You can't really see the actual brick in this image here, but that sort of glow of red is because of that light brick. But yeah, with these pieces, you could actually see the internal electronics inside of it because it is trans-clear in nature. And so I think that's a great idea to actually take advantage of the fact that you can see the electronics and then put it on this mock here. Because, you know, this mock has such a vibe of exposed electronics, so that's kind of the perfect addition, isn't it? Now, something else I love here is on the side of the Exo-Suit, you can see these grey gears and the tread that links them together. I'm not too sure if they actually serve any like practical use or if they're just placed here to look pretty, but either way, they do look really pretty. And you know, like I said, there is this vibe of that unarmored, bare-bone robotic suit, you know, with technology exposed and everything, and the inclusion of these gears, again, fits right at home with that aesthetic. This is such a fun build and a really, really solid idea. So that's it for this HF Feb episode of the Bionicle Inspiration series. There'll be many more coming throughout the month of February, so stay tuned. If your mock hasn't been featured yet, I'll do my best to feature it, but I'm going to tell you now, I can't feature every single submission that's been submitted because there's so many, I just wouldn't be able to fit them into the episodes that I plan to do. But I'll do my best, don't you worry. I mean, heck, I put like 6 in this episode. I'm going to try and pack in as many as I can. Now, be sure to check the links in the description below to see more from the builders that I featured today. They all make fantastic stuff, and so the people that have social media, it's worth checking out what they've built. Also, you can check the links in the description below to my own social media and see some of the stuff that I'm posting over there. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Happy building, and bye for now.